Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Open House, and as you can see, I'm joined by Mr. Brian Cunningham. How are you, Brian?
Greg, very well, thank you.
Now, where have you been hiding for the last little while? Your face has popped up in the paper in the last little bit with regards to Port, but what have you been up to?
Look, I left the government. I'd done work in government, running 2 large government departments for 5 and a bit years, and left at the end of April and running my own consultancy now and doing some work with various clients, including the local government association, and recently I have been in the press a little bit with Port
You
Adelaide.
have. They want you back, mate.
No, I don't think it's necessarily that.
Oh,
I
look,
think
it is.
I think it's interesting when you read about footy in South Australia. It's in a pretty difficult state at the moment. Port Adelaide in particular, both financially challenged and not performing on the field. So if I can help them in the first of those, then I will.
What is your capacity? Quite seriously, I did notice that you are heading back there. In what capacity is it?
Well, it's not quite as big as I think the media make it out. It's basically trying to help the club in what we see as a hiatus, a period of time where the club's really challenged financially over the next 2 to 3 years. I think the Adelaide Crows similarly are going to be challenged before the Adelaide Oval thing comes on stream, because Adelaide Oval will produce a lot more yield for both clubs. And in the meantime, Port Adelaide have got to find significant sponsors and build their corporate base, build their membership base up. So my role was really getting a group of corporates together along with the board and Mark Haseman for Port Adelaide, trying to get a brand of Port Adelaide out there that says this club has got a place to go and get behind it.
Wasn't going to go to this quite so early, but you've led me in. Dear old Timmy Ginniver and Georgie Fiarchi are saying one club. Okay, so I'm assuming the Magpies and the Power, bring them together. What's your view on that?
Well, I guess I was acutely involved in that, Greg, way back in February when that proposal was put through the directors of the SNFL clubs and the Football Commission. I was on the Football Commission at that point in time. Didn't get up. I think it was a good commercial arrangement. I think that notwithstanding both clubs are struggling, when you put them together and you build the massive Port Adelaide support behind it, then I think it probably works. So I favour it. I do support it. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope it does get up, because talking to Timmy and to George, it certainly seems to make a lot of sense. And let's hope, for the sake of the Port Adelaide Footy Club and South Australian football, it does actually get up.
Well, it's a legacy of what happened some years ago when we won the licence to come in. We actually went into that arrangement saying that Port Adelaide will move from the SNFL to the AFL, but then the conditions put on the licence agreement were, well, Port Adelaide, you better have a side in the SNFL as well, because the SNFL needs Port Adelaide in it. That was the decision made at the time. In reflection, probably not the best decision.
Okay, hindsight, beautiful thing. Brian, one of the most highly held CEOs. Everybody sort of says you've done a sensational job, both at Port Adelaide and then with the TAFEs?
No, I ran 2 large government departments. The Department of Further Education, Employment, Science, Technology, which is a 6,000 person department.
6,000?
Yeah, $480 million budget. And I ran recently, the last 18 months, Department of Trade and Economic Development.
Okay, all right. So now what actually are you doing? Are you helping other board members, or what? When you say consultancy, let's drill down a little bit. What actually are you doing?
Well, I'm actually looking for board positions at the moment. Commercial boards is where I'm placing myself. I've picked up one really good commercial board in Seal International. I'm really pleased with that. Looking for others. Doing some consultancy as well. I'm chairing a board for the Local Government Association, a major project that they're running for 6 months, and I've got an executive team working on that. And it's about something in relation to your field, trees on public land. And if you see what's happened over the last weekend with the various storms that have happened around South Australia, it's a pretty big issue when you get trees falling on property, cars, and sometimes people. So councils are looking for a way that they can better manage trees, because this will only happen even more in the future with climate change and stronger storms and longer dry spells. So it's quite an interesting project for me. That's one of the 3 or 4 pieces of work I'm doing at the moment.
Really well done. Whatever you do, I'm sure you'll do really, really well, because you're a passionate fella. The cultural differences between a football club and a government body, I reckon, would be poles apart. Am I right?
Can be. Culture is very interesting. It's all about people, as you know, and that's what business is about, people. I found when I went into both government departments and coming out the other side, were they better departments when I left, because my role was generally around culture change. Footy clubs very much act on a basis of team and the way team works, very similar to the way I guess you would do your work with Brock Harcourts. Government doesn't work on the team basis. It's very individualistic, and I guess that flows from the fact of the way that politics is. That's not a criticism. I love my 5 years in government, learnt an enormous amount. But if you talk of culture, I really enjoy working in an environment where you actually work with people and you build and you have success and everyone shares in that success. And I don't think that happens as much in government. Probably that's my biggest take out of government, that the issue of team has never been something that government departments have really done all that well, and there's still a lot of work to do there.
Who were you answerable to? Which poly were you answerable to?
I was, quite a few. I had Steph Key as my first minister, which was the training portfolio. Paul Kiker, who's now moved on to water, in that portfolio as well. The most